To my surprise, ending D is not actually an entirely separate route of the game. It's just choosing 9S over A2 in the final fight. I don't know where the game could have possibly gone at this point, but there was still a couple of unanswered questions. For example, there was that S unit that was narrating those storybook sections in Route B from the Humanity server on the moon, which never got followed up on. I guess that's just going to remain a hanging thread. Oh well, in the meantime, A2 is pretty much the exact same as when I fought her back in the Forest Kingdom, except she now has the addition of some pod abilities, which is cool, but doesn't matter too much in the face of the levels and equipment that I'm using right now. Got the dashing, got the going out of bounds, and getting kind of confused there for a second. Falling down on top of you. It's pretty, it's a fun fight, but like I said, not too much different from what I've seen. There's some unique hacking, though. I mean, that is 9S's whole forte. He used it in the battle against A2. He's going to use it in the battle against A2 again. Where she's got, I don't know, angelic runes in there? I think? I don't really have any easy way to confirm that anymore because all of, like, the unit names that used to be in angelic runes in the log are now all in English, so I'm gonna have to go like review past footage to try and figure out what this says, if anything. Well, anyway, this is the only fitting way to take her down as 9S, especially considering how much hacking I did in the rest of the game.
Take care of 9S. To be.
Man, Route C. I remember when I was going through Route A, I was thinking, you know, I was talking up how depressing this game was going to be, and it didn't really seem all that bad. Mostly. I mean, certainly there was some stuff, but then we get to Route C, and it feels as if after they finished writing the first half of the game, that Square Enix kicked down the door, pointed directly at Yoko Taro, and were like, yo, you gotta make this game twice as long. And he's like, well, I got some ideas, but I guess I didn't make my characters suffer as much as I normally do. And then he cracked his knuckles, and we got that scene. Another novel section like we got with Devil and Popula. Only a couple of them in the game. Kind of surprising to see one come way at the end. Didn't want to be attached to somebody she had to kill again and again and again. Yeah, so that's why she was so cold and distant throughout the entire game. I thought she was just focused on her work, but no. I mean, it's... Man, everything about Yorha. At some point in time, there had to be a conversation that was two androids talking to each other, and they're like, okay, so to further along the war effort against the machines, we're going to create an elite unit of androids. All right, sounds good. But you know, okay, so we're going to need to have them tested first. We're going to need to have like prototypes, and then eventually we're probably going to need to replace the entire unit with a new upgraded one after we get more combat data. Yes. Okay, so what are we going to do with the old guys? Are they going to like go and become commanding officers because they got all that field work? Are they just going to be like fighting in a lessened role? Oh, no. They're also going to be vanguarding the humanity server, so we need to kill them all. We need to murder all of them. What? That's terrible. These androids might be soldiers, but they're still the same as the androids on Earth. We couldn't possibly just slaughter them like animals. No, it's cool. We're gonna put machine parts in them. Oh, so like the machine cores? Oh, great. Then we can just, kill them indiscriminately, work them to the bone and make sure that anybody that tries to defect or doesn't like what they're doing will have specialized units and everything to make sure that everyone is murdered. Because who cares? They got machine parts in them. They are just disposable human trash. I did predict that they were a very evil organization, but I didn't realize that they were being evil in a way that was entirely successful. They got wiped out in the same way they want to, and you heard that one announcement when 2B was doing stuff. They were already planning to start up with the new Yorha units there, when 2B was corrupted with the virus. Oh, also, yeah. This is also a thing. The machines who still have clearly not overcome their inability to not just have constant conflict are like, no, we're just going to shoot ourselves into space. You know what, guys? You go for it. Go land on some desolate asteroid and kill each other. I don't even care. You too, Adam. You're going to fit right in there. Eve, I kind of feel bad about. He does not deserve that. But he does get to be with Adam again. This could also just be that 9S was infected with the virus, and, in like Mass Effect style, he's been indoctrinated into the machines, but that's maybe a little bit reading into it a little bit too much. Nah, 9S is cool. He's fine. You guys can go. You guys can go kill each other on the asteroid. Idiots.
So that's where you were. 2B.
And according to one of the intel things that you get at the very after this, when you load back up the save file, it's that the network is just gone. Now they pieced off of Earth, and like I said, go for it, guys. Have fun. So hey, at least the remaining androids are doing pretty good. Pascal, same thing. Well, provided that you did the ending where you didn't actually kill Pascal. No, I would say that the machine life forms are still very much children, but whatever. Terminal seemed to be, the red girl seemed to be completely fine with just trying to attack you constantly, and then trying to attack themselves, and then, man. So yeah, I had people asking me about ending E, and I did not realize that, well, I did not realize what it was at the time, but apparently you do need to play through both 9S and A2's ending to get this thing.
Progress of Project Yorha is complete. Proceeding to final stage of project. Commencing deletion of all data. Pod 153 to Pod 042. Data noise present in stream. Requesting temporary halt to perform data check.
I'm realizing right now that I did completely forget to show the whole Godvox section because I somehow accidentally sequence broke the game, and we didn't really get to see that the entire thing with the pod theater was leading up to the fact that they were becoming intelligent by themselves. They were becoming their own self-actualizing, or whatever it's called.
Pod 153 to Pod 042.
So this ending didn't come out of nowhere as much. Or similarly, the way that the terminal was beaten earlier.
Data created in my banks as I was referencing the records. realize something.
Oh, well, the summary of it
That I cannot
is that
accept this
the
resolution.
God
The
box,
destruction of
the
all
resource
Yorha
collection
units
unit,
is
was
an
another
essential component
way
of
for the machines to
project
torture
plan.
9S some more, I
All
guess.
data must be destroyed.
Boy, 9S.
Pod
9S must
042
suffer.
to pod
He
153.
must suffer.
Repeat. Personal data deletion request denied. Initiating data salvage. Pod 153. You hoped they would survive as well, didn't you?
We lack the authority for such an action. The rules are protected by low-level systems. Salvaging data poses an unacceptable level of risk. Knowing that, do you still wish for them to survive?
Well, I mean, by the time Route C came by, I kind of 9S lost me, and I never really liked 2B all that much. And A2 is just, she's just angry, and I was with her for like a mission. Oh, okay. I guess if you say no ending for
Do you
you.
still wish for them to survive?
Yeah. I also just wanted to see what happened. Really, that was really more it. I also did try in the previous thing where it said, "Hey, if you don't, hey, stop this. If you say no, don't stop this." It does the same sort of credits error. And let me tell you, the errors in this game do not look like that. The errors in this game look like the game just shutting down because it crashed. Yeah, so I just died there because I wanted to see what happened again. Oh, and if you say yes, especially if you say yes when you're like 10 minutes into this, it does just kick you right back to the title screen.
I cannot deny the feeling.
So, yo, I'm gonna be honest here. I probably should show this entire
Perhaps we
thing.
now understand that not everything
Like
has to have an answer.
The desire to have a complete video series says I should, but it would literally be 30 minutes of that tedious shooter game. This episode would be doubled by that section alone of basically just me shooting credits for 30 minutes.
However,
I can't comment over that.
Cycle.
Look, I'm already not showing like side quests.
That is what we believe.
And just to pad out the rest of the episode, I'm going to be showing the rest of the endings. But it's like I couldn't show that entire thing.
How is it going?
I am embarrassed.
Why is that?
I launched a suicide attack, and yet here I am, still alive. I must look very silly.
Do not feel bad about it. We are alive, after all. And being alive is pretty much a constant stream of embarrassment.
That concept is a bit too abstract for me to understand at this time. I will save it in my list of things to analyze later.
Question, Pod 042. Did the data salvage restore all of their past memories?
Yes,
And are those recovered parts of the same design as previous ones?
yes.
Then, won't that simply lead us to the same conclusion as before?
I cannot deny the possibility. However, the possibility of a different future also exists. A future is not given to you. It is something you must take for yourself.
Pod 153 to player. Please respond to this query. Do you, faithful player, have anything you would like to say to other players who are suffering because they cannot finish Nier Automata?
Understood.
Nope, not at all.
Returning to title screen.
After that ending, I was just like, nah, no. All right, so going all the way into ending F through, well, I showed a couple of them off, so I guess it's only going to be Y, but starting out in 9S's first section, if you don't hack him back to life to continue on with the story, have to wait 3 minutes for that to happen. You have to intentionally do that, obviously. Could not stand up against the Goliaths. Well,
What's that noise?
I mean, they were built that way. So,
2B, this is an emergency
what do you expect?
transmission from the bunker. We're reading a Goliath-class enemy inside the city ruins, and it looks like there are a ton of other machines there with it.
So a lot of these endings are really just, hey, you're supposed to go do a thing right now, and then you don't do it. Which, I mean, it lines up with a lot of the other things that I've seen. I was kind of hoping for more of the endings, like eating a mackerel or blowing yourself up inside the bunker. You know, stuff that you have to actively, intentionally do. Well, intentionally do that isn't just not continue on with the story. I was really hoping to get, like, alternate endings related to maybe being pacifistic in some of the routes, or, you know, like at least minor changes, but not, it's, you get 26 endings, and that none of those fit into that, unfortunately. This one is, yeah, I never would have thought about, I never would have thought to do that one if I didn't look it up. Most of these I had to look up, but I'd say a decent amount of them, stuff like, you know, when 2B is corrupted with a virus, stuff like just running away in the middle of the final push against the machines. This sort of thing was pretty obvious. Same with attacking the robots when you get into, well, the same area as A2. Yep, just walking here and it's like, nah.
There are still enemies here.
There are a couple of these endings where they warn you. They're like, no, we can't do it. I don't believe that 2B smiles at all. To be honest, it's like, that's actually... I mean, defecting was the right idea, if you ask me. This ending is just straight up kill all of the robots. Yeah. And it's kind of annoying because if you accidentally say walk out of the village because you couldn't find one of the robots, they do all respawn then. So it's actually slightly more difficult than you might think to get. Slightly.
Exiting the planned operational.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, they were built to have that happen to them. The easiest way to do this one is just to get to the bridge, because otherwise you have to wait like 40 straight minutes for this to happen. Getting to the bridge just, you know, gets it up to 90% automatically, I think.
Where the hell is 2B?
Scanning. Black box signal located.
Put it on the map.
Alert. Large-scale ground tremors detected. Underground soil structure is no longer stable. Cause is likely a high-magnitude earthquake. Proposal.
Yeah, so this is the bit where I think 9S would go and see 2B get killed by A2. By the way, I'm kind of disappointed in A2. I mean, when she was first introduced, it seemed like she had, you know, secretive knowledge about the inner workings of Yorha and everything like that. But nah, she's just mad and hates machines. I was hoping for, like, a little... And then, of course, you only play for her for a very brief amount of time. Like, this whole thing... Barely even got to use the whole Berserk mechanic. You know, I mean, I think I used it once, but I also didn't really need to use it past that point.
Allies?
Oh, and this was actually, yeah, because the game glitched out on me. I didn't even get to see this whole bit where you... I mean, like... Pablo and Devla came to help me, but I had already... But none of the robots came to attack. So...
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We can't just abandon them.
I mean,
If we don't
it
do
pretty much
something,
plays
they're
out
gonna-
exactly how you think it would, but man, I probably should have included that section in these videos.
Leaving the zone of contact
Ah, well, too late now.
abandoning the androids Stella and
I mean,
Opala. Proposal.
You know, now that we're kind of at the end of the series, to be honest,
Looks like this is it. No.
I don't know. I mean, this game is certainly pretty good, but I can't really say that it grabbed me. Man, I love it in the same way as a lot of other people that I saw when they were talking about it in the comments section on some of the earlier videos. There's so many things where a lot of the areas are just incredibly huge, but there's so many things that look like you should walk into them and you're just meted with an invisible wall. And so many bits where there's just nothing. It's huge areas with not a whole lot of stuff in them. So I just found myself over time feeling like the game was kind of dull in a lot of parts. And I think especially like Route C, it got kind of like Route A was a lot of fun, especially with Adam, because he's a weird character. You got to see his birth. You got to see him like pull a full-on villainous role, and he actually had like some growth and everything, even though I think he got killed kind of prematurely. And you know, everything with Eve, I think, like flowed pretty well into a pretty satisfying ending for Route A, and then Route B was just play through the game again. And Route C was 9S must suffer. He must suffer. And that especially was just a lot of like, I don't know. So yeah, in all honesty, if I'm gonna be completely real with you, kind of lukewarm on the
I
game.
doubt you'll be needing my help.
But I still committed to playing through everything anyway.
Nothing.
I mean, I think that this is definitely a it's just me sort of deal. So,
Emil sure is
Yeah.
acting kind of weird.
and this is Emil appears in here after you have every single one of the weapons in the game fully upgraded. Another task that was really not very fun to do, and a lot of grinding. I mean, that's another thing, of course, like the whole leveling system and grinding and feeling like things are a little bit too easy, too hard, kind of flipping back and forth between that. Well, anyway, yeah. So after you have every single one of the weapons
Emil?
fully upgraded, you can go into this section that I was alluding to when I first saw Emil, where there's just a bunch of Emil heads stuck in the ground,
Emil!
What?
and one very sad-looking Emil.
You're still alive.
Yeah, one of the many side quests that I did was finding out that Emil basically cloned himself a bunch of times to aid in the war effort against the aliens.
What's happening?
And that's why there are a bunch of heads like in the desert, and the Emil that you were talking to is not actually the true original Emil.
Proposal. Evade.
All eventually leading to this, which is a repeat of a boss I've seen already. And, well, I guess it is like the hardest time I had with any of the bosses in the game. So if you're going to repeat one, repeat the hardest of them. Man, to the point that like every one of these heads is like level 99, and they, even with like the 2 times damage that I have natively from the plug-in chips, as well as being like level 85 or at least close to it, they were taking no damage at all. So hacking's the way to go. Hack into them, it does like a big AoE and everything. Emil's a really weird character, and it does also confirm that the pods do know about magic, even though that doesn't really appear much of anywhere else in the game. There we are. Still doesn't take a whole lot of damage from hacking. However, it does do AoE damage, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, there was even a bit that I was going to show where you do actually go to Emil's house and like steal from it, actually do a boss battle against him. But to be honest, it's like, I wasn't really showing any of the side quests, so I decided to just nix that one for this kind of weird, well, it does lead to an ending, which is why I'm including it right now.
On my own.
Stop it! You have to stand
This is, I would say, probably the hardest one to get in the entire game, despite the fact that it is just kind of a generic failure state, once again. In some ways, I'm even kind of surprised that you can kill these Emil heads. They're like immortal stone things. He survived so much up until this point, and then he copied himself like a million times. Like I said, to aid in the war effort. Couldn't recreate his body, though, which is kind of too bad, but yeah. I also think that aside from a couple vague allusions that you get in some of the weapon stories and weapon descriptions, stuff like that, as well as, you know, just like stuff implied from the past, this is the one time that you have characters actually named from the original Nier. Or Kane, or how did they actually say her name? It was like Kaine? Something like that. Is name check here. And despite the fact that there are all those meal heads in the ground, they are not the ones attacking you. The ones that are attacking you are just happen to be reskinned versions of that one Goliath boss that A2 fought. You know how. And yes, I do think that they do get like a barrier around them after you take out their health, much like the original centipede boss that I don't remember the name of that they're based on. It is a difficult fight, but you know, I gotta say that like fighting has also not actually been all that much of a thing in the game. Dodging is very easy, and you know the whole RPG aspect makes making difficulty for this very weird. So though I do think there's a lot of really great stuff in here, I just feel like it's hard to like it doesn't have quite as much depth as I would have liked. I think it's perfectly good though for what it is. Certainly a lot better than like the Drakengard, as I was saying before. Weird that you can even hack Emil. I guess he might be like, he was sort of manufactured. Maybe he's got like a lot of robotic-ish parts in him. Maybe he evolved in some way to get that. Still, it's strange. And even though Emil didn't quite have the same impact on the story that I thought, it's still nice to see that we do get, like, for real, a pretty good follow-up as to the teaser that you got. Well, teaser. The twist, the stinger that you got at the end of Nier. If only it was his own fight instead of a reskinned version of a different one. Which, I mean, I guess he did. Like I said, you do fight him after ransacking his home. Get an Emil head weapon, which talks to you at its max level. I'm not using that. I don't need to hear him say, "Hey, friendo," after every time I throw a punch. Actually, that would be pretty fun, but it would get annoying very quickly. We're talking like doing the voice changer thing from the start of Route B. I'm not a big fan of including all of these hacking minigames, but
But
it really
even
is
so,
the best way to take out this boss
this
near
is
as I can tell.
wrong. No matter how hard or how painful.
Especially because it does kind of impact some of the cutscenes a little bit.
They never gave up. They kept fighting because they...
Maybe I should have just edited all these out. Nah, I mean, I already did way too much editing with ending E there. I'm not gonna do any more.
Isn't that right, Kaine? Even if it's pointless, you still have to do it. Because this is the world my friend tried to save.
Yeah, Kaine. There you go. So I was saying you're wrong. Well, canonical ending for Nier Automata.